Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome to Sew with me, Eva. And if you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to cut and sew this simple high waist palazzo pants with crop top. And I achieved this style using 3.5 yards of African print fabric. This video is very detailed, very easy to follow and very beginners friendly. So if this is something you are interested in, make sure to keep watching and make sure you watch till the end so that you don't miss out on any detail. And this pant has a zipper at the back, as you can see. So if you find this video useful, if you find it helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, share this video to your loved ones, and also put on your notification bell so that when I post new videos you'll be notified. So let's jump right into the tutorial. So I made use of 3.5 yards of this beautiful African print fabric. And you're also going to need your scissors, your tape rule, and your chalk. So we're going to start with the lower part of this two-piece, which is the trouser part. So we're going to start with the trouser part of this two-piece, and this is the front panel. I have the fabric in a fold of 2 already. So to get the amount of fabric to fold, go ahead to divide your round hip measurement by 4. Mine is 11.5 inches, and then add about 4 extra inches or 5 extra inches to it. So I have a total of 16 inches on fold. So the first thing is to mark out a starting line at the upper part of your fabric. This line is going to serve as the waistline where you will take all your vertical measurements from. And then the full length of my pant is 43 inches. I added 1 extra inch to it, making a total of 44 inches. So this pant is going to have a band of 2 inches at the upper part, but I won't be taking it out yet. I will do that later. So let's go ahead to mark the vertical measurement. So from my waist to my hip line is 10.5 inches. Go ahead to mark your own appropriate measurement. So the next measurement is going to be from your waist to your crotch depth. So to get your crotch depth, go ahead to divide your round hip measurement by 4. Mine is 11.5 inches, and I'll add 1 extra inch to it because I want the crotch area really fitted. If you want yours free, you can do 1.5 inches. If I wasn't making a fitted pant, I would have used 13 inches. I hope you guys understand. So after that, the next thing is to mark the full length of the pant. So from that line again, I'm going to come down by 44 inches. The full length of my pant is 43 inches, but I added 1 extra inch for folding allowance. So these are all the vertical measurements you'll be needing for this pant. So the next thing to do is to divide your round hip measurement by 4. Mine is 11.5 inches. So I'm going to mark that 11.5 inches on the waistline. I'll also mark it on the hip line and on the crotch line. So divide your round hip measurement by 4. Whatever you got, go ahead to mark it on these 3 lines, just as you can see me doing in the video. After marking, go ahead to connect the 3 points together. So this is what you should have. The next thing we want to do is to mark the crotch extension. So to get the front crotch extension, go ahead to divide your round hip measurement by 4 and then divide whatever you got again by 4. So I normally get about 2.9 inches, but I'll just approximate it to 3 inches. So I use 3 inches for my front crotch extension, and then I'll just form a curve this way from my hip line all the way to the extension. So you should have something that looks like this. After that, the next thing is to mark the tie line. So your tie line is either 2 inches or 2.5 inches below the crotch line, but for mine I made use of 2 inches. So I'll go ahead to extend the line. So after extending the line, I'll measure what I have on this crotch line all the way to the extension. I have about 15 inches, so I'll get the midpoint. After marking the midpoint, I'll connect it down to meet the tie line this way. And then go ahead to measure around my thigh, your upper thigh. Go ahead to measure it. So mine is 28 inches. So I'm going to divide that 28 inches by 2, which is 14, and then I'll share it on both sides of the line, which is 7 inches on both sides of the line. So measure around your thigh. Whatever you get, divide it by 2. So for mine, I got 14 inches. So I'm going to place that 14 inches, making sure 7, which is the middle of 14 inches, is on that line. So I'm basically marking 7 inches on both sides of the line. Then I'll connect it to the crotch extension this way, and also connect this part to the crotch line. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to extend these lines all the way down, because it is straight palazzo. So you can use your ruler to do this so that you won't make any mistake, so that you can get a very straight line. And on this side, I'll just measure what I have in between. So I have 14 inches. So I'm going to mark that 14 inches at the base where I want my pants to stop, and then I'll go ahead to connect it all the way up this way. So the next thing to do is to mark the waistline. So divide your round waist measurement by 4. Mine is 9 inches. I'll add 1 inch for that, making 10 inches. So I'll go ahead to mark 10 inches and then connect it all the way to the hip line this way. So I did not add any seam allowance to this front part. We're going to add everything to the back. So the next thing is to take the dart. So from the center front again, I'll come in by 4 inches, which is my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, and then come down by 5 inches. So I'll connect it all the way up this way, and then take half an inch on both sides for the dart. So this is basically all for the front. Let's go ahead to cut it out. So let's go ahead to cut it out. So guys, don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel if you're yet to subscribe. It will really mean a lot to me. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to do is to remove the waistband from the pants. So I want a waistband of 2 inches. So from the waist area, I'm going to come down by 2 inches. So you can try to use a waistband of 1.5 inches depending on what you want. So I'm going to just mark 2 inches from the waistline, and then I will cut it out. So I'm just trying to show you guys another method of making a pants with waistband. You don't have to take it out before you take the measurement. You can just make your measurement and then cut out the amount you want for your waistband. So I'm going to set that aside while we use this front panel to cut out the back panel. So to cut out the back of the pant, I've gone ahead to place my front panel on another fabric that is in a fold of 2. So while placing the fabric on it, I made sure I have about 2.5 inches towards the upper part. Then towards the crotch extension, I have about 4 inches extra. And on this other side, I have about 3 inches. So the first thing to do is to come over to the center back, the center front, and come up by 2 inches. So you can do 1.5 inches if you're on the small side. So this is going to help your pants sit very well at the back when you sit down. And then on this hip line, I'm going to extend it by 2.5 inches. Small size can do 2 inches or 1.5 inches. And then on the crotch line, I'm going to extend mine by 4 inches. So remember, I used 3 inches in front, so I just added 1 inch to it, and then making 4 inches. So just add 1 inch to whatever crotch extension you used in front. So I marked the 4 inches there. So I'm going to connect that 4 inches now to the hip line this way, to form a curve, to form the back crotch extension. And then from that hip line now, I'm going to connect it, forming a slant to the waistline this way. So after connecting, you should have something that looks just like this. So this is what we have. So this is going to be where the butt will sit for the butt allowance. So after that, I'll go ahead to just connect this new waistline all the way up. So connect it, forming a slant this way. That is the back waistline. So when you measure what you have in front, it should be the same thing to what you have at the back. After that, I'll come over to mark the inseam allowance, the seam allowance on the inside of your pants. So I'm going to take 2 inches from the tie line all the way down. So mark 2 inches on the tie line. So remember, we did not add any seam allowance to the front panel, so the back panel is going to carry all the seam allowances. So go ahead to connect it all the way to the crotch extension this way. And on the side, for the side seam, I'm going to do 1.5 inches all the way down. So I'm going to mark 1.5 inches on this side all the way down. So you can use your ruler to connect the points together to achieve a straight line. And on the waistline, I'll also add that same 1.5 inches and then connect all the points together. So after connecting, this is basically all. This is for the side joining allowance, and this is for the joining allowance between your thighs. So the next thing to do is to mark the zipper allowance. So from the hip line, I'm going to come out by 2 inches and then mark it all the way up and go ahead to connect it together this way. So this is going to be the zipper allowance. So that is basically all. Let's go ahead to cut it out. So let's go ahead to cut out the back. So you're going to cut out the zipper allowance this way. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So you'll have 2 pieces of the front and 2 pieces of the back. So I'm going to set these fabrics aside while we work on the upper part of the 2-piece. So guys, for the crop top part of this 2-piece, I'm going to be cutting out the front and the back together. And I have my fabric here. This is the front and this is for the back, and they are both in a fold of 2. So to get the amount of fabric to fold, I divided my round bust measurement by 4, which is 11 inches, added 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance, that is 13 inches. So I have about 14 inches on a fold. And the length of my crop top is 19 inches, but I added 1 extra inch to it for the folding allowance. So note that this top is not going to have any zipper. So because of that, I'm going to work with the same neckline for both the front and the back panel so that it can go through my head easily. So the wideness of the neckline I'm working with is 4 inches and the depth of the neckline is also 4 inches. So this neckline is for both the front and the back panel, so I'll connect it together this way. And then I'll come over to the edge of the fabric, the open angle, and come down by 1 inch, which is for the shoulder slope. So I'll connect it all the way to the neckline this way. After that, I'll come over to the highest point of the fabric and come down to my bust point. My shoulder to my bust point is 11 inches. So on that bust line, I'm going to place my round bust measurement divided by 4, which is 11 inches. I'll add 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance, making 13 inches. And on the full length of my crop top, I'll mark my round waist measurement divided by 4, add 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance, making 11 inches. So I'll go ahead to mark it all the way up this way. So after that, I'll take the armhole. From that line, I'll come down by my round armhole measurement divided by 2, which is 9 inches. And then I'll connect it all the way to the bust line this way. So let's go ahead to cut it out. So before I cut out this point, I'm going to make a curve this way. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So the front and the back panels are identical. So the next thing we want to do is to finish up the neckline area of the top. So to finish up the neckline, I have cut out this piece of fabric. It is 1.5 inches wide. So I'm going to stitch it on the neckline, right sides facing each other this way. After stitching, I'll use it to turn it over to the wrong side. I'll do the same thing for the back panel. And when I'm done, I'll place both fabrics right sides facing each other. I'll close the shoulder areas together using half of an inch, and after closing, I'll finish up the armhole area just the way I did with the neckline. I'll stitch this fabric to it and then use it to turn it over. So after doing all of that, closing up the shoulders and finishing up the necklines, I will then use my 1 inch seam allowance to close up the sides of this top. I'll stitch it all the way down. When I'm done with that, I'll also finish up the base and then I'll show you guys what the top looks like. So after I finished up the neckline of the top, I closed up the shoulders and I finished up the armhole. just as you can see, and I also closed the side using the 1-inch seam allowance, and I folded the base. So this is basically all on the crop top. It is very simple to make, and this is what the back looks like. So when you cut it out, just finish up the neckline with your bias method, close the shoulders, finish up the sleeve, close up the sides, and finish up the base. So I'm going to set the top aside now while we work on the pants. So we're going to start with the front part of this pants. So I'm going to place them on each other, right side facing each other this way, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine and close up this crotch area using 1/2 inch. So when I'm done with that, I'm going to repeat the same thing for the back. I'll place them right sides facing each other this way. So for the back, I'm going to stop at the point where I want my zipper to start from. So from that point, I'm going to just close it up all the way down and leave the zipper part opened. So when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after I closed up the crotch area for the front and the back, this is what we have. So for the back, just like I said, I stopped at this zipper allowance point. So this is the zipper allowance opening, and for the front I closed it up completely. So the next thing I want to do is to take in the dart. So I've already notched the point where I want my dart to be on both sides. So I have already notched the point where my dart is going to be. So this is the wrong side of my fabric. I'm going to come down by 5 inches and then connect it up, and then I'll take 0.5 inch on both sides. So I'm going to stitch the dart in on the wrong side this way, all the way to that 5 inches. I'll repeat the same thing for the other side. So this is why it is important to notch the dart area on the fabric. So for the back, I have also notched the dart point. I'm sorry I didn't show you guys that. I just extended the front dart all the way up to the waistline of the back panel, and I notched the dart point. So I'll come down by 5 inches as well and then take it in this way. So when I'm done taking in all the darts, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after I took in the darts, this is what it looks like on the right side, and this is what the wrong side looks like. And I have also done the same thing for the back panel. This is the dart, and I also ironed it out. After that, the next thing is to join the front and the back panels together. So I'm going to place them facing each other, right sides facing each other. And we're going to start joining from the sides. So I'm going to place them this way and then close up the side using 1 inch. I'm going to close up the side using 1 inch all the way down. When I'm done with this side, I will go over to the other side. I'll merge them together and close it all the way down. So this pants does not have any pockets, but if you want to learn how to make a pants with pockets, I have several videos on that. So when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after closing the sides, this is what it looks like. So the next thing I want to do is to close up this crotch area. So I'm going to merge the front and the back crotch together this way. So starting from that midpoint, I'm going to stitch it closed all the way down. Stitch close all the way down using 1 inch, and on the other side I'll start again from the center point and stitch it closed all the way down again. So when I'm done doing that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after closing up the crotch area, this is what it looks like. You can see the pants is taking shape already. This is the back and this is the zipper opening. So the next thing we want to do is to cut out the waistband. So to get the length of fabric you'll be needing for your waistband, go ahead to measure all around the waistline of your pants. So starting from the back, I'm going to just measure what I have all the way around the waistline. So for me, I have about 38 inches, so I'm going to cut out my band. So I've gone ahead to cut out the band, and the wideness of the fabric I cut out is 5 inches. I ironed my stay on it. So I cut out the fabric that is 5 inches wide, and I folded 1/2 inch on the two sides. So what I have left is 4 inches. So when you fold that 4 inches into 2 again, you're going to be left with 2 inches, which is the height of the band that I'm working with. I have 2 inches, and the length of my band is 40 inches. I cut off 40 inches, so whatever excess I have, I'll just trim it off. So to attach the band, go ahead to mark the midpoint of the band. Fold the band into 2 equal parts this way, and just use your chalk to mark the midpoint on both sides. So we're going to start attaching from the wrong side of the pants. So I'm going to place that midpoint on the center front of my pants this way, on the wrong side. I hope you guys can see. And I'm going to stitch that 1/2 inch to the waistline. So right side of your band facing the wrong side of your pants first, and stitch it all the way to the edge. When I'm done with that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So guys, after I stitched the band to the wrong side, this is what it looks like. So what you're going to do now is to fold the band. So remember, we already ironed it, so it's going to make the folding very easy. So just fold the band to cover it to the right side. So after folding, you should have something that looks like this. So what you're going to do now is to fix this allowance under the band and then stitch it down. Stitch very close to the edge of the band all the way around it. Stitch it all the way around it. So go ahead and stitch it all the way around, making sure that allowance is underneath the band. When I'm done, I'll do the same thing for the other side. So after that, I would fold in the base of my pants, but I'll first of all make sure that the 2 legs are equal before folding. So I'll fold in twice, 1/2 inch twice, and stitch it all around. So when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So guys, after inserting the waistband, this is what it looks like. After stitching down the waistline, this is what you should have. And I've also finished up the base of the pants. I folded in twice, as you can see. So the last and final thing we want to do is to insert the zipper at the back of the pants. So I'll be working with this black zipper, and I'm going to just open it up. So the one that's supposed to be on this side, I'll turn it over this way. I'll fold in the edge, and then I would stitch it in all the way to where the zipper is going to stop. So let me just use my pin to hold it down so that you guys can see. So I'll stitch the zipper down after using my pin to hold it down. I'll fold in the edge. So when I'm done with that part, it's going to look like this. And then when I'm done, I'll repeat the same thing for the other side. So I'll go ahead to do the same thing on the other side. You can just use your pins to hold it down. Fold the zipper at the top in this way, and then stitch it all the way in on the zipper allowance. So I have several videos where I explained all this in detail, so I don't want to go into so much details here. So when I'm done stitching the zipper, I'll show you guys what it looks like and the finished product of the pants. So guys, after inserting the zipper, this is what it looks like. You can see how neat it came out, and this is what the front of the pants looks like. So this is the top for the palazzo pants. So you can see how easy this was to make. You can see how beautiful it looks as a set. So this is where we'll end this video for today, guys. I hope you found it useful, and I hope you have learned something new. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.